Welcome to our tutorial about creating a simple sketch. Before we begin sketching, let's go to Tools, Application Options, and let's click on the Sketch tab. The first control area contains options for constraint placement priority. When parallel and perpendicular is selected, Inventor looks first for constraints, which define the relations between geometry. If such relations don't exist, then Inventor will look for relations to the coordinate grid. In the Over-Constrained Dimensions section, Inventor can warn you if a sketch is over-constrained, or it can apply driven dimensions. When this box is checked, Edit Dimension when created, an Edit dialog window opens when you create a dimension. Let's leave grid lines, minor grid lines, and axes checked for display. The rest of the options we'll be exploring later in this course. One option I did just want to draw your attention to briefly is Snap to Grid. We're going to leave this unchecked for right now. Let's click Apply and OK and then Close. First, let's select the Line tool. Left mouse click. Next to the cursor is the horizontal constraint glyph. When I move the mouse vertically, I see the vertical constraint glyph next to the cursor. Okay, let's click again, and now we'll create a line about 45 degrees from our first line. Now we see the perpendicular constraint glyph. If I move the mouse horizontally, I see the parallel constraint glyph. You may have also noticed that while moving the mouse, a dotted line appears. This is the alignment tracking line, which indicates that I'm directly under the starting point. And we can also see the alignment line right here. Let's go back to our sketch. Here's the parallel constraint glyph. Right now we see a green point. This indicates a coincident relation between 2 points. Let's right-click and select Done. Now let's create a center point circle. When I move the mouse, we see the alignment tracking lines. And we're going to click and create our circle. By the way, if we don't want or need the alignment tracking visible, simply click Ctrl on your keyboard to take it off. When I mouse over the top line of my sketch, we see the coincident relation as well. Let's click somewhere here. And let's create another circle. This time it's going to be a tangent circle. I'll select the first line, the second line, and a third line. And now we have a circle tangent to all 3 lines. Let's look at the Ellipse tool now. We're going to create an ellipse on our sketch. Another tool is the 2-point rectangle. Very simple. Let's also check the 3-point rectangle. Here's my third point. When you're done with a tool, simply right-click and click Done to deactivate it. Now let's select the Fillet tool. We need to enter the fillet radius in the dialog window. I can simply click on a corner. Let's create a second fillet, say at 1/4 of an inch on this corner. Right-click and Done. Now let's go and check the chamfer. The chamfer tool gives us a few more options. The first one gives us equal distance. Again, I click a corner, or one line and then a second line, and the chamfer is created. The second option, unequal distance. We enter our 2 distances here, distance 1 and distance 2. With this option, the order in which you choose your lines matters. In other words, distance 1 is the first dimension here. As well, it relates to the line I selected first. Distance 2 relates to the line I selected second. The last option lets us control distance and angle. The line I select first will influence the direction of the chamfer. First, I select the horizontal line. The distance dimension relates to this horizontal line. At this point, I'll click OK. Next, we've got Point, Center Point. I can simply create a point using this tool. The green dot that appears here indicates that this point was created at the center of this line. Our next tool is the Polygon tool. It offers two options, inscribed and circumscribed. An inscribed polygon means the vertex is created between two edges. A circumscribed polygon has a vertex created at the midpoint of the edge. We can specify the number of edges, let's say 6, and let's create it right here. Let's add another one. OK. Now let's undock the standard toolbar. There's 3 more tools I want to take a brief look at in this chapter. The first tool lets you toggle between construction geometry and normal lines. The second tool creates a center line. And the last tool toggles between a normal point and the center point. And this concludes our tutorial about simple sketches.